What's up everybody, Matt Maran here for another weekly update. So back to the usual format here, and happy to be back with a normal, nice, polished weekly update here. So before I get into all the news here this week, I first want to mention I will be doing my usual weekly live stream here on Sunday night at 9 p.m. Eastern time. Join if you can. It's always a good time hanging out and talking cars with all of you. But anyway, getting into the news here this week, Rivian has a couple surprises for us here. So the first one is they revealed their long-awaited R2, which we were expecting, we knew was coming. But they also surprised us with the reveal of the even smaller R3, which I don't think anyone really had on their radar. And so, first for the R2 here, it won't arrive until 2026, but when it does, they claim it'll start at just $45,000. There's not many details yet, but they say there will be a single-motor rear-wheel drive version, a dual-motor all-wheel drive version, and an even crazier three-motor version that will do 0 to 60 mile per hour in under 3 seconds. All of them will also do over 300 miles of range if you opt for the bigger battery option. It's 15 inches shorter than an R1S, and it shares much of its styling with that vehicle, of course. And this one, though, is only a 2-row, unlike the 3-row R1S, but it's $30,000 less and is still very off-road capable with an impressive 9.8 inches of ground clearance. Other cool touches are that it has rear hatch glass that slides down, which I love, and also the rear quarter windows even open up like minivan style, which I am actually pretty tickled by as well. But they claim it'll be able to do hands-off and eyes-off driving of some form, supposedly. That's the part I'm most skeptical about here, but anyway, it'll also qualify for the full $7,500 tax credit, they say, as well. So if they can actually stick to that price point, which again, we'll see what inflation does in the next couple of years and all that, but I mean, if they can stick to that price point and have the tax credit, I mean, this is going to be really affordable and be a really impressive little vehicle, at least in that base version. We will see how much more expensive it is with all the other stuff added on. But anyway, so pretty promising there. And then moving on here to the reveal of the R3 and the R3X. So this one has no release date or specs, but impressively looks pretty ready for production already. So I would assume that maybe this is coming very quickly after the R2. I believe they said R2 is in the first half of 2026. So this could be maybe second half. I don't know, but it takes the R2 platform, but shortens the wheelbase another 5 inches. And it's supposed to be Rivian's version of a crossover, they say. It too will offer rear-wheel drive, all-wheel drive, and a tri-motor setup, meaning potentially even crazier performance than the R2. They say that the R3X version is the tri-motor one, and that's basically going to be like a little crazy rally car, which, I mean, if it's going to have an insane amount of power, that is going to be nuts. And I can see already all the automotive influencers seem like they want one. It seems like Jason Camisa, Jason Fensky, all these other automotive influencers seem like they're very excited about it. So I'm sure the R3X is going to be the vehicle to have on YouTube in 2026 or whenever this thing comes out. But anyway, they say it'll have a little more ground clearance to be a little sportier for that R3X version as well. It'll also cost less than a comparable R2, but they didn't say just how much less, so we will see. My guess is something under $40,000, but maybe it could be even cheaper. Who knows? One other cool touch for this R3 here is that the rear glass lifts up separately, which is a fun little retro cue. And both these vehicles seem really promising to me, and really makes me optimistic about Rivian's future. I think both of these things have a lot of appeal. The interiors look very nice, very high-tech. The only thing is that they still don't have CarPlay, wireless Android, any kind of smartphone integration. And I really hope that they open that up in the next couple of years, because if they do, I mean, that's even something, you know, even Beth has already said she really likes the R2 and, you know, could be a potential option for us and many others in the future. But that is something that most car buyers want, CarPlay, and to not offer that is going to be the only thing that holds these vehicles back from greatness, in my opinion. But we will see. At least they kept the gauge cluster alive, though, unlike Volvo. So I'm hoping that you know, the smartphone integration will come eventually. We'll see. But anyway, moving on here, just a couple weeks ago, I was talking about how Genesis appears to be backtracking on their EV plans, and they're now going to have hybrids debuting in 2025 instead of everything being electric only in 2025 and beyond. And so, if those reports are true, and that actually turns out to be the case, that kind of will corroborate what we're now hearing from a new interview that drive.com.au did with Hyundai's executive technical advisor, Albert Bierman, who used to be the chief engineer, but has since, kind of stepped down from that role. But anyway, he revealed that these more powerful hybrid powertrains that is going to end up in some kind of Genesis products could also end up in Hyundai N products as well, and that it could be an option for the Elantra N specifically in the future. We've already heard confirmation of a next generation Elantra N, potentially with a bigger motor, and then this could even just add even more performance if they hybridize it. So we will see, and it might not stop there either, with him saying that they're trying to convince executives higher up to approve a smaller electrified N as well. And he lastly added the hybrids could be a bridge between the old internal combustion engine pure stuff and the electric higher performing stuff, which, I mean, you have to admit, Hyundai N was little 275 horsepower vehicles, and now we got 640 horsepower Ioniq 5Ns and stuff, and it's just like too much of a jump. Like, what about people who wanted an N but can't afford to spend 60 grand plus, or didn't need a 3-second 0 to 60? All those people are going to get left behind outside of the Elantra N. And I agree, it'd be really smart to have something that's middle of the ground, power wise, that's not bonkers crazy, because again, not everything's going so insanely high horsepower these days, and it's like, what about the usable fun stuff that's 300 horsepower? I hope that there's some EV companies that are willing to do that as well. But anyway, so I think this is a great idea. If they're going to backtrack on the EV stuff anyway, then hybridize stuff, get some better fuel economy there, get whatever you need to get for the cafe emissions and all that, but still have fun performance, still have hopefully a great sounding engine. I think this should be great, and we will see what happens. I'm guessing we'll get our first clues whenever this new powertrain debuts in some kind of a Genesis at some point next year, if again those rumors are correct. So we'll have to wait and see. But anyway, very interesting to hear that. Hyundai has also partially officially revealed here the Ioniq 5 refresh in Korea. So it gets some minor tweaks to the front end design. There's a new rear spoiler and the great addition of a rear wiper, which is one of my biggest complaints I had with that vehicle. I'm so glad I got that. Along with another welcome addition on the inside here, where you have physical buttons for the heated and cooled seats and the heated steering wheel, which is another thing that was sorely lacking. Plus it gets new Hyundai software there for the wireless smartphone integration finally. And another big change is the battery, which the battery pack goes from a 77.4 kilowatt hour battery pack to 84 kilowatt hours for the battery pack, which in Korea boosts the range by just 16 miles, surprisingly. I feel like it'd be more than that, but we'll see what it does here. And then lastly, in Korea, the price has remained unchanged. So hopefully that'll be the same here as well. I think they realize they can't justify a price increase if they're already having to slash prices on the current pricing for the Ioniq 5. No one's going to pay that much more for a few extra miles of range and some extra buttons and a rear wiper. So hopefully they do keep the pricing steady. That would be, smart, I think, to do. And there's no word on when we'll get this updated version here, but the safe bet is it's going to be arriving most likely for the 2025 model year. So interesting to see that. And a user named Julian on X got some early info on what appears to be the new performance version of the Tesla Model 3 and the specs that it could have potentially, thanks to some specs that were found on the South Korean's Ministry of Environment government page. So apparently it reveals a new 412 horsepower rear motor that'll be combined with the current 211 horsepower front motor from the old version, meaning a potential of 618 horsepower, which would be 113 horsepower more than the old Model 3 performance if that math ends up working out to be that simple, of just a simple, addition problem there. But it also shows the peak power of the motor would come at 68 miles per hour, which is 21 miles per hour higher than the old one. So still should, hit really hard, from a dig, but also means you got some more top end there too, which would be great. Also impressive too, especially these days, is that even with this new battery pack that it's supposedly going to have, it retains the same exact curb weight, which makes me think that maybe the curb weight number is just a filler on the government page, but we'll have to see. Maybe it did exactly match the weight of the old car, but supposedly it's still going to only weigh 4,089 pounds. For a vehicle this much horsepower, I mean, that's really impressive and very light. Especially we just saw, the Dodge is like 1,800 pounds heavier. We just saw debut this week. This could really be, impressive. So we'll see. But anyway, there's still no info on when this performance version will arrive, but hopefully we don't have to wait too much longer for that. But Tesla is very unpredictable with the release of these things, so we'll just have to wait and see. Reuters is reporting this week that Fisker may be close to a deal with Nissan here, and it's a lifeline that would be vital for Fisker because they actually just admitted this week that it might not be possible for them to continue going much longer before they end up going bankrupt. I think they said they might have until the end of this year or something. We'll have to wait and see about that. But the deal with Nissan was supposedly be for Nissan to get access to the Alaska truck platform to make their own electric truck quickly, while providing Fisker with about $400 million and building their truck alongside the Nissan one at Nissan's American factory. So Nissan, gets the truck that they want. They also probably going to get paid, by building these trucks for Fisker as well. And the reports haven't been confirmed by either company, but Fisker did say that it was in talks with a large car company. They did confirm that. And apparently Nissan says that they are evaluating various opportunities from various companies. And again, I'm sure all of these little startup companies that are, struggling to survive are all going to be desperately throwing out offers to every major car company with any form of money to try and, keep them going here. So it'll be interesting to see, who absorbs who here in the next couple of years. I think there's going to be a lot of that, honestly. I think it would make sense as long as Fisker isn't giving them a crappy platform because, the ocean seems to be just littered with issues left and right. So, assuming they can work through all that stuff and maybe Nissan can help them with that, but assuming they can actually make a solid product, this could actually work out for both companies. But if Fisker is just going to hand Nissan a lemon, maybe Nissan can make lemonade, but I feel like, that's the last thing Nissan needs is another big headache to sort out. So we will have to wait and see, but very interesting to hear that. And some other Nissan Group news here. Infiniti has posted a second teaser for the next-gen QX80, which will debut on March 20th. And in this one, they reveal that the power for the new SUV will come from a new 3.5-liter twin-turbo V6 that replaces the V8, but does a strong 450 horsepower and 515 pound-feet of torque, 50 more horsepower and 102 more pound-feet of torque than the old V8, and a good bit more power than even its main Japanese competitor, the Lexus LX. So the QX80 will use a 9-speed automatic, they confirmed, which is also an improvement over the old 7-speed. They said it'll give you some extra power down low as well as some extra efficiency and the higher speeds there. And it'll ride on what they're calling a new chassis and larger frame, although reports have suggested it'll be just an updated version of the old platform, kind of like what we saw with the Frontier, where same kind of old stuff, but a lot of it has been changed. I think there's going to be doing the same kind of thing here, just to kind of cut costs, but to give you some nice improvements. They'd say it'll still be stiffer and more rigid for the chassis, and it's also going to have a new air suspension that'll hopefully smooth out the ride and make things, extra comfortable as well. But anyway, we'll have to wait and see here the full reveal in a couple of weeks. But honestly, that's more power than I was expecting, and that motor's impressive too. I was assuming they just throw in the Nissan Z motor for 400 horsepower, but to do more than that and have an extra half-liter displacement is interesting to see. So yeah, and moving on here, Porsche has also teased a new hardcore version of the Taycan that will debut on March 11th. And from the silhouette here, we see a big wing, a new rear bumper, and a driver with a helmet there. And the car supposedly lapped the Nürburgring in 7 minutes and 7 seconds and 0.55 milliseconds already, almost 20 seconds faster than the Tesla Model S Plaid. And it's rumored to get the Turbo GT name for this new version. We'll have to wait and see about that, but I'll cover all the details on that next week. Moving on here, another track monster that is rumored to be coming here this year is a McLaren P1 successor. So it's reportedly called a P18 for now, and according to anonymous inside sources, Automotive News Europe claims that the car will be Formula One inspired with a plug-in hybrid system that when combined with a new V8, we will see how new it really is, because they've really just been massaging that old V8 for a long time now. If it is truly new, that'll be impressive. But anyway, they're claiming a new V8 that will do combined over 1,000 horsepower, yet will weigh about 70% less than the current plug-in hybrid system that's currently used in the Artura. That's a big weight reduction for a hybrid system. Not sure how they're accomplishing that, but it also supposedly will have integrated seatbacks in a carbon fiber chassis, 3D printed suspension components, Formula One aero, and for the first time on a McLaren, it'll have gull-wing doors instead of the usual dihedral doors that they had previously. Supposedly it'll debut by the end of 2024, and we'll see if they can beat Ferrari, who's also rumored to have their hypercar debut here at some point this year. And also in this Automotive News report, they also gave info on McLaren's upcoming family vehicle, roughly, saying it'd be a 4-door, 4-seat McLaren that'll be supposedly showing up around 2028, and that'll be developed in-house, and that it might not take on a usual SUV shape. So I'm assuming it's going to be kind of like a lifted sedan is my guess. We'll have to wait and see, because apparently McLaren said they're not an SUV company, so don't expect a more boxy SUV, but I think a lifted sedan or something could possibly do the trick for them. But anyway, and some other supercar news here. Even though the Lamborghini Huracan, seems like it's pretty much done. We're expecting the next gen successor here to arrive at some point this year. But it sounds like the Huracan might have one last thing in the cards here, with CarBuzz spotting a new trademark for the Huracan STJ name that was filed with the European Intellectual Property Office, and we even have a complete logo there. And so it's a clear play off the prior SVJ name, and according to the Lamborghini Talk Forum, only 10 of these will be made. So it's going to be some limited edition, thing. Don't get too excited about that. I mean, that's even more rare than most of the rare, one-off Lamborghinis, basically. And so, it means these are all just going to collect dust. No one's going to ever drive them. And we're just talking about art pieces at this point. We're not talking about, actual driving cars, basically. But anyway, I will keep my my burned out feelings about these whole, boutique car things to a minimum. But moving on, they just say that it's going to be a big Lamborghini event that's happening here on April 6th and 7th. That's likely when this new car will show up. So if you're excited about it, stay tuned for that in early April. And for the last news story here this week, Jaguar has confirmed to Autocar that production of all of their cars will end in June, and we're talking non-SUV stuff. So this means the XE, XF, and the beloved F-Type. Again, we knew that the writing was on the wall for the F-Type. We had heard about that for a couple of years now. And, we assumed there wouldn't be much longer to go for the XE and XF either, but now we have official info here, ending in June, leaving just the SUVs in the lineup until their new products arrive supposedly next year, which I thought I had heard that had been delayed, but according to all the Jaguar executives, it seems like, they're fully planning to have products to sell, next-gen products to sell next year at some point. And so Jaguar's North American CEO explained to Road and Track that the majority of our products cease production in June, but they will be on sale for a much longer time. We will have a production schedule that enables us to have a continuous supply of vehicles until the new cars come. We're trying to time it so we have enough volume to take us through to the launch of the new product and have a clean handover. Whether it will be as perfectly planned as that, we'll see. Maybe we'll sell out more quickly, or maybe it'll take a little longer to sell through the current inventory. But the plan is to sunset the current product portfolio and then launch the new ones. And so it still sounds like the 3 new vehicles coming will be a high-end 4-seat GT car to compete with a Porsche Taycan, as well as a very luxurious SUV that'll supposedly compete with a Bentley Bentayga. Good luck with that. And then also a big luxury sedan with rumored prices all over $100,000. But I mean, I don't know why Jag's trying, especially the SUV. They already have Land Rover for the high-end SUVs, and can anyone even argue that a Land Rover is comparable to a Bentayga? I don't think even the nicest Land Rover can hold a candle to a Bentayga. But, yeah, I don't know. We will see. The North American CEO also explained a bit about this transition to these higher prices and these higher-end vehicles, since, again, they've had lots of people questioning that, including myself here. But he said, obviously, we don't want to leave anyone behind, especially since the brand has such a history, but there does come a point where you just need to focus on the future. It may not be a brand for everybody, and that's by design. I can't tell you exactly what percentage of current Jaguar owners we will leave behind, but clearly given the positioning of the brand and the vehicles, we will lose some clients along the way. It's a difficult decision to make, but brands need to be focused and to decide what their purpose is. We just knew that we didn't want to be another volume luxury brand. That is not something that aligns with the Jaguar philosophy. I don't know, what they think about the Jaguar philosophy gave them license to do 6-figure vehicles exclusively. Seems like a tough sell still to me. I mean, I will keep an open mind. Maybe they will wow us with really impressive stuff that really will make somebody want to buy a Jaguar SUV over a Bentayga when they're the same price. We'll see. Best of luck to them. And anyway, at least getting back to the original thing here, it's really sad to see the XE, the XF, and the F-Type go. Obviously, you know, myself and many of you, I'm sure, are huge fans of the F-Type. That's something I'm obviously very sad to see go away. But also the XE was really good. I only did a quick drive in an XE. I'm hoping to someday do another review of an XE and actually drive it for a longer period of time, because it seemed like a really underappreciated vehicle. Yes, the reliability probably isn't as good as most of the competitors. But, you know, it seemed like just a different vehicle and just something cool. It just seemed like it was really promising. And they also performance versions. The XF was cool. They had the sport brake version of that. You know, they did all these cool things. And, you know, again, I haven't even driven the current gen XF to just talk about how that drives at all. So they always were cool vehicles and something different. And I respected that, and, you know, they gave it their all with trying to compete at those volume, you know, segments. You obviously can't beat the Germans at their own game, but, you know, I'm a little bit bummed that it didn't do better, but it is what it is, and, you know, it's the way it goes. They didn't sell, and so they're going away. So we will see about Jaguar's path going forward. I'm not optimistic, but, yeah, best of luck to them, and very interesting to hear that. Lastly, I want to thank all of you that are members of the Maran Motoring Club. So we did have a few new members that were able to join here this past week. I didn't give any shout outs in last week's live weekly update here, so I'm 2 weeks behind. But I want to give a big thank you and welcome here to Blard Purple, Six Licks, and Nathan Lincoln for all joining and becoming members on their own. I really appreciate the support, and I hope you're all enjoying the membership perks so far. And I also really want to give a big thank you here and a big welcome to Tony Marushi, Bobby 2112, Kyoman, and Steve Auto 88, who are all able to join thanks to the very generous membership gifts that were given here by the Truck and Car Guy, Kyle, and Jeremy Wang over the past 2 weeks in the live stream. So huge thanks to all of you for your support. A big welcome to all the new members. I hope you all are enjoying those perks, and I hope you can all join also in the live stream here, where those members do get that priority answering. I'm looking forward to chatting with those of you who are members in this coming live stream here. But for anyone else that would like to join, become a member, and get that priority answering and all the other perks that come with being a member, there's always join buttons here on the video page, on the channel page, and also a link in the description. But anyway, thank you all very much for watching. Let me know your thoughts on all this stuff in the comments below, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.